giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
Three, two, one.
Here we go. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live, presented by the Cochran Firm and Boston Scientific. Streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. I am so happy to be back on Facebook, man. Can y'all tell the energy, the excitement? And then I'm back on YouTube, I'm sorry. And then I'm back after a Cowboys victory on Thanksgiving where we ended the streak. Come on! That thing, yeah. It's been a while. I ain't gonna lie to you. It was a nice little, you get a 3-day break or whatever. Got a nice little 3-day break for Thanksgiving. I hope everyone enjoyed their Thanksgiving. I did. Cowboys won. Me and the lady went out this weekend, celebrated her birthday. I got a chance to kick back, watch some football yesterday. Stress-free. Stress-free football is the best football to watch, man, especially when your team plays earlier in the week. And the Cowboys will be opposite of stress-free. Next week, you got the Sunday night game against the Indianapolis Colts, and we'll break all of that down. Cowboys Nation, I got you. But before we get into any of that later in the week, we got to review this Cowboys victory where I say they handled business, because that's exactly what they did. Was it pretty? No, it wasn't pretty. What was it? 3 games in 11 days. That last game might be a little bumpy ride, and it was, and the Cowboys got it done. So we'll talk about all of that in the overreaction, reaction, week 12 stuff. You also got in the roundup some playing stuff that went down. We'll briefly touch on that. And then I got one small adjustment that I think this connection can be a lethal connection that's starting to heat up a little bit for the Cowboys, but they got to make one tiny adjustment, man. I think this thing could really take off for this duo. So he indeed did, King Tony. He indeed did. Shout out to the Bomb Squad for holding it down while I was out.
Bomb Squad!
A lot of you guys are hitting me up. Yo, when you come back on YouTube, man, whenever they let me out. YouTube is an interesting place, man. But for those who didn't know, I had to explain it on Facebook. I'll briefly explain it again. Some audio from the NFL game came through our pregame show last week, so we weren't able to stream live because they said that's a no-no. We didn't play the audio. It just happened to be coming through during the show. But we back, man. I'm excited to be back, and a lot of good stuff to talk about here. So if you want to call into the show, because a lot of you guys haven't had a chance to call in quite some time, you can. 351-999-3787 is the call-in line. Let's get to this roundup. Let's do it, baby.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time!
It's time.
It's time!
Time?
It is time for...
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Oh, they do it. Hey, oh, they do it.
Hey, yo. Stress-free football, man. Stress-free football yesterday. A lot of exciting games came down to the wire after Thanksgiving. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers took a L to the Cleveland Browns. I'm not going to bring up a specific player in the Browns organization that helped them get that dub. But did y'all see that catch by the tight end? My goodness. And Njoku was a beast in that game. But they got the dub 23-17. We needed, though, the Falcons to get the dub to help out in regards to potential playoff opponents. Now, it's still early. We got lots of time to go here, but the Falcons end up losing to the Commanders. They just won't go away. They've 6-1 since like the last 7 weeks. It's kind of crazy. But if the Falcons had won, they would be in first place in the division. Now they're not because they lost as well as Tampa. So nobody in that division is above 500. But the Commanders are 7-5. And if everything ended right now, the NFC East, the entire NFC East would be in the playoffs. That's crazy, man. This extra, I don't know how I feel about this extra seed. I don't know how I feel about that. Don't think it's needed, but it's here. NFL loves it. I'd rather go back to having the 2 bye weeks. 1 and 2 gets the bye week. I thought that was better. That's just me. What else happened yesterday, man? Bengals-Titans was a really good game, too. I always keep my eye on the Titans just because, you know, our parent company is in Nashville. They cover the Titans. And Cowboys are going to be playing the Titans. They lost 20-16 to the Bengals. The Bengals are kind of on the roll here ever since week 2. Dolphins handled business against the Texans. Bears had a weird quarterback situation. They lost to the Jets. The Broncos. Man, I was wrong on them. I was wrong on them. I thought they'd be a decent team. I did not see 3-8 coming, and Russell Wilson is donezo. I'm pretty sure they regret that. Ravens lose to the Jaguars 27-28. This NFL, man, it's a strange lady. Chargers get the dub over the Cardinals. They handle their business 25-24. Brandon Staley is just a menace when it comes to these 2-point conversions. Went for the 2-point at the end, won the game. Raiders Seahawks was crazy. Goes to overtime, and Josh Jacobs, who low-key may be the offensive player of the year. MVP Pat Mahomes, but offensive player of the year might be Josh Jacobs. It's ridiculous. Man's had over 300 total yards as a running back. With the walk-off, like, 80-yard touchdown in overtime. Josh Jacobs balling for a 4-17. Saints get blanketed by the Niners 13-0. The Niners are starting to get on a roll. One of those teams, man, you know, don't know if you really want to see them in the playoffs type of team. Defense is getting back to their stifling ways. I don't think they gave up a touchdown in the second half in the last 4 games. Got the pass rush, got the run game, got the game plan. You just got to hope Garoppolo is bad Garoppolo and not solid Garoppolo like he was yesterday. Rams lose with our third-string quarterback 26-10 to the Chiefs. And then the nightcap. Packers-Eagles, man. Aaron Rodgers did something to his ribs. That game was crazy. 5 touchdowns in the first, 15 minutes of the game. First quarter of the game. There was so many touchdowns or whatever. 40-33, the Eagles get the dub. They ran for 300-some yards, man. Jalen Hurts had 150. He had 100 rushing yards after the first quarter. It's so annoying watching them play, man, because they don't do anything crazy. But the read option stuff is difficult. And not too many teams run it as deliberate as they do. Not too many teams, make the referees have to make a decision every play. But that damn read option or RPR, run, pass, run, it's annoying. And they do well off it. They play well off of it, and they're 10-1 right now. And their pass rush got after Aaron Rodgers in that second half. Knocked him out the game. Jordan Love came in, threw a strike to Watson. And now everybody's like, oh, Jordan Love's a guy. And we'll see. We will see. But that's around the NFL. Let's move on to this crazy story. So let's start off with the normal stuff here. Odell Beckham is expected to visit with 3 different teams: the Bills, the Cowboys, and the Giants. The Cowboys' scheduled visit is December 5th. Okay? But yesterday, before the games got started, I'm hearing about Odell Beckham in a plane situation. He kicked off a plane, and like, what's going on, man? This is getting. So we go on and we read the reports here from the Dade County Police, Miami-Dade Police, on the Odell Beckham situation. Apparently, the flight crew was concerned for Beckham, and they tried to wake him up so he can fasten his seatbelt. So he seemed to be in and out of consciousness prior to the departure. They thought that Odell was seriously ill and that his condition would worsen on a 5-hour flight. So the attendants called the police and fire rescue. Why? Okay. Upon the officer's arrival, the flight crew asked Mr. Beckham several times to exit the aircraft, which he refused. The aircraft was deplaned, at which time Mr. Beckham was asked by the officers to exit the plane and did so without incident. He was escorted to the non-secure area of the terminal by the officers, where he made other arrangements. Not a good look. I mean, it doesn't sound like anything serious, but nonetheless, not a good look. I don't know what to make of this thing with Beckham. He's not a Cowboy, but I understand he has a visit with the Cowboys. A big part of me still believes that's not going to happen. That's a good point, too, there. Maybe he took some pills to go to sleep before the flight. I don't know. I mean, y'all, fly. I've definitely wanted to fall asleep prior to the takeoff. I've fallen asleep prior to takeoff before. Maybe Beckham did that. Maybe he took some pills to go to sleep and he was in and out of consciousness. And I'm just speaking for him, not about the situation. I'd care less if he's here or not. Because he's still at this point, and I'll stand on this, not a necessity, be a luxury. Not a necessity, be a luxury. And that's because them boys woke up a little bit yesterday. Oh, I'm sorry. Not yesterday. I'm thinking they would play yesterday. Thursday. They finally snapped that 3-game losing streak on Thanksgiving, ruining everybody's Thanksgiving dinner or late lunch, however you want to look at it, man. It's been since 2018 the Cowboys won on Thanksgiving, and that was the last time the Cowboys won a playoff game. So maybe some foreshadowing there. I don't know. Just saying. But let's get into that game, Cowboys Nation, which was a tale of two halves, right? There was the first half, which was weird, and then there was the second half, which was flawless, like Minnesota type flawless. And when we win, don't get twisted. We're going to have a cookout. We're going to talk about those who stood out in that game. But before we do that, we got to talk about these penalties, and we got to talk about the mistakes, right? We'll get to the good. I promise y'all, we'll get to that good. But those things do have to be cleaned up without a shadow of a doubt. The Cowboys are second to last in the league in penalties per game. 4-1 in the last 5. I love that. But the Cowboys cannot carry that into the playoffs. They got to clean that up. I don't know what has to happen, but something has to happen, right? Something has to happen. On the flip side, where things did improve over the last 2 weeks, or at least from a volume standpoint against Minnesota, but in a really good standpoint against the Giants, they did corral that run game. So the Giants didn't get a chance to go off until the end of the game. I don't know that dude's name. 23 had a couple runs on the Cowboys where it really didn't matter. But they shut down Saquon Barkley from a run game standpoint. And I think a lot of it had to do with their fits up front. They were much better. And they shut down Daniel Jones, Cowboys Nation. I love the way they rushed and they were patient and disciplined getting after Daniel Jones. You saw it. You saw them change up how they did it against other mobile quarterbacks. 99, 90, even 11. Even Micah Parsons was doing the same thing. They would rush upfield and then they would hold. And then they would make their decision. Now, sometimes that gave Daniel Jones a couple extra seconds to throw the rock. But nonetheless, I thought they were much better in corralling that run game, which includes Daniel Jones' legs, period. You're gonna face some teams, Jalen Hurts, where the quarterback is going to run like that in the playoffs or later down the line in the regular season. if there's still something to play for that team. We'll see when we get there. I'm pretty sure that'll get I'm sure they'll falter again. It happens. It is what it is. But I think those two things stuck out to me from a totality standpoint before we get down to the nitty-gritty. Penalties, they got to clean that up. And then the run game, they did corral that, and they played much better in that aspect. But the mistakes in the first half, also with the interceptions, those cannot happen moving forward against better teams. I do want to talk about, though, the CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott connection, because that is heating up, but we're going to get to that in the cookout. So hold tight. Once we get to the cookout, I want to get to the phone lines right quick. Let's do that. It's been a minute. Pulse of the Nation phone lines presented by the Cochran Firm. Since 2005, my guys, Brian Pope and Larry Taylor, handled the most challenging civil cases involving personal injury, wrongful death, fraud, truck, automobile, class action, you name it, they handle it. And they handle all of their civil cases on a contingent fee basis, meaning if there is no financial recovery, they charge no fee. So contact 1-800-THE-FIRM or schedule your free consultation today at CochranTexas.com. Let go. 920, what it is, what it do?
Hey, what's up there, Scott Walker? This is Carl Young.
Carl. What's up, Carl? What's good, man?
What's up, man? Hey, dude, you was off Friday, right?
Oh, yeah. I had to enjoy this Thanksgiving weekend, man.
You glad? Because I was heated, man. I was heated because because, you know, I watched the post-game show with you and Jesse Holly.
Oh.
And, dude, he is, man, the Cowboys played so many games in 3 days. Of course, they weren't going to be at their very best. And I think the second half, they won that football game.
Oh, man, they were flawless. So here's the thing with Jesse. Jesse is not a Cowboy fan. And so he doesn't have the same emotional reactions that we have. See, my reaction to after the game was, we just snapped the Thanksgiving games losing streak. The energy should have been different because the Cowboys played great in the second half. Let's celebrate this Thanksgiving Day victory. Then we'll break down the game in depth, the good and the bad, as we do throughout the week. But Jesse's not a fan. So Jesse's not looking at it from our lens where, yes, there were some things that we got to work on and talk about. Right. And we'll get to that. But we're happy and excited. We can go to bed feeling great, go into the weekend feeling great, got to win. You got to worry about your friends and family talking trash to you and rival teams talking trash or whatever. And you got to win. Yeah. Surprisingly, to my surprise, ain't gonna lie to you, he went straight to the negative and stuck on the negative throughout the entire time. And I was like, hey, man, did we win the game, Jesse? I mean, goddamn. What are we doing here? But listen, the concerns are valid. But damn it, I ain't gonna let nobody ruin my mood after a dub on Thanksgiving. I'm sorry.
Listen, Coach, I was so upset. I wanted to call in. I even sent some message, and I said this. For a guy that was wide open when Romo threw him the ball and he couldn't even make a touchdown.
Oh, no, no. We're not gonna do that though. That's a different story. You want to have an issue with his take, that's fine. But Jesse Holly did play multiple years in the NFL and has played with multiple quarterbacks, and he knows more about football on one pinky than we do. So we're not gonna discredit his road to the NFL though.
Yeah, but you know what though. It's consistent with him. It is. And I'm not the only one that think that. It's just consistent. The Cowboys, they need to clean up their penalties. Yeah, we need to get that before playoff time. Yes, I've seen Dallas with so many penalties in a game and still blow a team out. I've seen them. And I get, they do need to clean that up.
Yeah,
they do, because they're gonna be playing against some high powerful offense, so they definitely need to clean that up. But I just don't feel, he's just so negative with the Cowboys, man. for you to work there and everything. I see it every day. I'm hanging with the boys every day. I watch you every day. He's just so hater, man.
He's not hating. He's not hating. It's just Jesse. The Cowboys ain't won in a while, and he's just like, wait to the playoffs. But the problem is, and this is what I said to him, we got to get there. Like
right.
we have to get there first and get to the end of the season. But let's focus on this game right now. We're in week 12, and they just won the game. We can talk about the things that they need to improve on. That's no problem. But that seemed to be the only talking point. And as a fan, I'm sorry. As a fan, after winning on Thanksgiving, well, I'm not trying to hear you just, rail on a team that just was up 28-13 for no reason. So I get the frustrations. I also get that the concerns are valid. But no, I had to step in a little bit. We had a nice little back and forth.
Yeah, that's all I was saying. I just, this team, they just blew out the Minnesota Vikings, and then you had a short week. And then you expect for Dallas to be just this. They're not going to score a lot of points every game.
And yeah, Carl. Appreciate the call, man. Let me get to a couple other callers up here.
All right, bro.
And let me say this, because this is one of the questions I said on there when he was saying all the things he was saying. I'm like, is this the norm, though, around the National Football League? Go look around the National Football League, and you tell me you see a team that's consistently blowing out squads. That just doesn't happen. Now, again, penalties, mistakes, yeah, you got to clean all those things up. But his gripe was that, want to see consistency from, week to week. And I'm like, that's true. We all want consistency, but describe specifically what's your consistency? Because they've been consistently winning. They're 8-3. They're 4-1. Top defense, top offense, and Dak's return. 1 week at a time, man. That's all I'm saying. Reek, what's good?
Yo, what up? What's good, Sky? What's good,
up?
Cowboy Nation? Cooler, man. Yo, man, great win for the Cowboys. I don't have too many rebuttals about how we won the game. We went in there. We handled our business. We came out with the dub. We finally won one for Thanksgiving. The turkey tasted excellent that day. Everybody did pretty much their jobs. I know when the road going forward, it's about to start getting tighter. As far as even with the bum teams that we got to play, the play gonna start getting tighter because it's getting closer to the playoffs.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm pretty much happy with the team. Now let's go towards the organization. It's a black eye on the Cowboys right now, especially with that picture that came up about Jerry Jones that nobody really want to talk about. But I feel like it needs to be talked about because it's something that's his past that's reared in his ugly head, and I think that it does need to be a statement of some issue by Jerry Jones, even if it happened when he was young, because they like to go back. They like to go back on certain artists or figures that's part of our community and drum up stuff that happened like 50, 60 years ago and try to throw them under the bus. You know what I'm saying? I understand Jerry, he probably changed his ways or whatever, but I feel like it should be an issue, like a statement issued about that and to put that to rest. You know what I'm saying? Because that came out of nowhere over this little time period, couple weeks, right? That's just my thing, man. Because it's like if they could throw Kaepernick under the bus, I feel like owners are not exempt. So that's all I got to say about that, Sky. But other than that, good Cowboy win. Trying to keep it positive for the Cowboys, but I just feel like that needed to be said.
What did you say?
Say, though. Huh?
What did you even say?
What I'm saying is, if they came up with a picture like that of something that bad that happened in this man's past, I feel like he needs to say something about it.
But he did, though.
Because people,
so what are you saying?
I didn't see it.
Yeah, he said
I didn't
something.
see it.
He did say something, but that's not really a. What is? I don't understand your take on that. So a picture came out. Jerry got to speak. That's your take on this. Like, what is your opinion on it? Because you calling in, you want to talk about it.
My opinion of it. my opinion of it is that just like other people get ridiculed for their past, I don't think it's okay for, I didn't know that Jerry said something about it, so that falls on me.
All right, so
but I was just like, I haven't been hearing it. I haven't been hearing it over the.
So your whole
over
thing
the
is
Cowboy
you just want
ways
him,
that people talking
you
about.
just want him to say something. You don't really have an opinion.
Yeah, like issue an apology or something like that. Yeah, I don't know if he issued an apology about that. I don't know. So that's why I spoke on it. That's the only reason.
All right.
But if it's something to issue, I'll go back and try to find it myself. But thanks, Scott. I'll let y'all live.
All right. Okay. I just want to know what he didn't have an opinion on it. He just said Jerry should come out and say something. My Reading brother, what's good?
Hey, good morning, my brother, and God bless you and your family.
Thanks.
And I hope you had a good Thanksgiving and all that good stuff.
I tried.
I tell you honestly, the Cowboys, they play good. The only thing is Kellen Moore got to hold back on being fluky. You know what I'm saying? He's like an addict. He likes to pass the ball.
He's a boss Cowboy.
He's like an addict. Yeah, he got to stay, like Cowboy would say, he got to stay with the run. I mean, there's situations where we do got to pass. But if you see something is working, don't break it, my brother. Let it keep on working. You know what I'm saying? God bless you in the show. And like you said, we're not going to always win by 30 and 40. People, I don't know, some people watch the football and they don't understand. Football is not like that. Everybody's not going to score those points every game. As long as we win, that's what counts. God bless you in the show and the family, and keep it going, my brother.
Salute, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, you're not going to get clean wins all the time. That's for damn sure. Again, if I can go back to that conversation from the first call, I just think, like Jesse, like a lot of fans, there's a trust factor. But I told y'all a long time ago, week to week. Then we'll review the season, we'll go. Because I don't know how else can you analyze this team if you're just going to jump straight to the playoffs, right? Like, and that's what I said at the beginning of the year. I said, what sucks as a Cowboy fan, they're not going to be able to enjoy this season. Cowboys going to be a good team. They're going to win double digits. They're going to go to the playoffs. A lot of people aren't going to be able to enjoy it because it's about what happens in the playoffs. But unfortunately, we have a job. Not unfortunately. Fortunately, we have a job to do Monday through Friday. And Monday through Friday, we got to talk about the Cowboys. And if we came on here and we were just one-sided every day, I'm pretty sure I'd get tired of that shit. So there is a way to speak about the things that they do well and speak about the things they need to improve on. We do that every week on this show. And I'll leave it at that. Los, what's goody?
Good morning, Sky, man. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I know the food tasted way better with that W. I'll tell you what, man. It's been a long feeling since, we can enjoy a W after eating, And I'll start off, man. I mean, hey, we did what we had to do with the Giants. We already knew they're Barkley and no one else. Because Daniel Jones, I think New York's probably going to move on from him either next year or whenever they can. But Daniel Jones ain't the quarterback we all fear. And no. I think Cowboys are starting to realize the formula to just be competitive or just ease through the notions of the game, because one thing that we still have to clean up is shooting ourselves in our foot, which is the penalties. But overall, I think they did a great job with Zeke and Pollard. Yeah. Pollard had 18 touches, Elliott had 16, and both of them averaged, I think, Tony Pollard didn't have like a good average this game, but I mean, either way, he still showed his explosiveness. And Elliott, he was still that bruiser. And hey, where are those Rush fans now, man? I remember when they didn't want Dak to stay on the field. Dude,
they gone. I told you, they're like cockroaches. When you turn the lights on, they'll come back out. Or they'll scurry around. But it's if Dak throws a pick or Dak has a bad game, Cowboys lose, Green Bay, right? And which I don't think it's a bad game, but they'll be back. That's just how they are.
Exactly, and I feel like Dak is still easing off that rust because there's still some turnovers that I feel like, man, Dak, why did you throw that? But, that's here and there. He has to, all QBs have to go through growing mistakes in any NFL season if you want to improve. And, I
think he's in
look
the
at
zone.
Josh Allen.
I think he's locked in right now. If you really go and study him, what he's been doing since he came back, he's in the damn zone. I'll explain.
Exactly. And I think he's, to my point exactly, he's just going more forward to where we want to be. And, man, if you're telling me this offense can average at least 25 plus a game with this defense, guy, we have a formula to be successful, and let's just see what they do with it. And that's all I have to say, Sky. Let's keep on doing with the momentum, and not too forward. But these next 3 games are non-playoff teams, so let's see how they take care of the moment. Peace.
Yeah, I think this is something. Let me see where I got. Here we go. I didn't know how I wanted to talk about this, whether it be today, whether it be tomorrow. But I said this last week, and I made a statement. I was like, I don't even know if this is a real hot take. If you really go and watch him and watch Dak now and Dak the first 6 weeks, I think he's playing better than he was last year. What's about the picks? I got a solution for that. Because 4 of the 5 picks since he came back come from one situation. One thing. Got an easy fix for that. But other than that, I think he's in extreme control. They're number 1 in third down since he's returned. He's bailed them out a shit ton of third and longs. I still don't think we have a nuanced passing game concept. So a lot of these things are, you got to beat your guy. And if not, then you better put the ball where it needs to be. And that's happening more often than not. Where we are, or where we have been nuanced, though, is in the run game. So it's kind of a give and take with Kellen. Like, we don't have a nuanced passing game, but we do have a nuanced run game and a nuanced run action, or we're starting to get that nuanced run action. So I'll fall back on that. But I'll die on that hill. But we ain't making things easy for the wide receivers or the quarterbacks, in my opinion. Everything is more so generic, meaning you have to be that guy to create that separation, and we don't have those separating type of wide receivers. So now make sure you make these contested catches. Make sure you make these tight window throws. But there's a way to avoid that. We'll talk about it in a bit. Let's get to the cookout, man. Let's talk about some of the players. And Dak, I don't have on here, but y'all can put him on here if y'all want, that I think deserve to be talked about from that game. Oh, yeah, we back to the original. Thanksgiving over. And it's only right, the head of the table, man, Micah Parsons. I don't do in-game betting, but I said this to Jesse. I said, if Micah Parsons gets a sack early in the game, or at any point in the game, go to your betting sites right now and bet on Micah Parsons getting another sack. Put your whole paycheck on it, because that's what happens every single game. Micah Parsons gets a sack. He gets 2. All of his games this year, multiple sacks. He's up to 12. Also have 5 pressures, 3 tackles, and 2 tackles for loss. I don't have him on here, but he could damn sure go for the walk. Damone Clark is allowing Dan Quinn to deploy Micah at defensive end more. Now, he was already doing that prior to Clark when Anthony Barr was there, but I think he's able. Damone Clark's play, at least as a fan, has allowed me to be confident, to be more confident with Micah Parsons at defensive end full time. I said this before. I have no problem with it, as long as I'm getting the linebacker play that I need. And I went back and specifically watched Damone Clark. Oh my gosh, man. The more he plays, the better he's just going to get. I'm not giving the job back to Anthony Barr. There's no way I'm giving the job back to Anthony Barr. Let him settle in so Micah can continue to terrorize at that defensive end spot. Ezekiel Elliott, welcome back to the table, sir. Was I'm going to ask y'all, was this Zeke's best game since earlier this year? I say yes. I have this being Zeke's best game since the last time he played the New York Giants in week 3. And this is the best he's looked, I think, since his injury. Now, you can say, well, Sky, he had 2 touchdowns against Minnesota and whatnot. He did. He had 2 goal line touchdowns, but I thought he looked much better in the open field. He was a smart runner, a physical runner, as he always is. That patience, that toughness. He continues to show that him and TP, he's a perfect light or thunder to TP's lightning. I don't know how many times I have to say this. You need them both. And I think this game helped show that a little bit here. Zeke averaged 5.8 yards per carry, 92 yards, a touchdown for the first time in 3 years. 1-2 tree. He had 3 runs of over 10 yards in the same quarter for the first time in 3 years. So, I mean, I'm not saying this is Zeke's best game in 3 years, but this is damn sure his best game since week 3. And I mean, you could argue his best game of the year, period. It could have easily had well over 100, but the game was put away. And they knew we were going to run at the end of the game, and it is what it is. But Zeke Elliott, welcome back to the table, sir. It's probably been since week 3. Yeah. I had to put Michael Gallup on here, man. And more so because seeing him look like he's getting back to the Michael Gallup that I knew prior to the injury. He could still be dealing with some knee things. He could still not be all the way back. And I haven't seen I haven't seen him take a deep ball, right? I haven't seen him get the jump ball down the field like he used to at an elite level. But boy, he had some strong hands on Thursday. Strong hands on Thursday. You can sense, or at least in that one possession, that Dak is growing confidence in him, especially in contested situations. And this is what I meant by the passing game concept. There's nothing that MG13, they're not going to scheme him open in that way. You know, and he's not going to gain separation either. So he's a guy that you have to throw the ball in certain areas and allow him to use his body or use his hands, his body, whatever, shield off the defender. And it was one play, I want to say it was 3rd down, where the defender's draped all over Michael Gallup. You can't throw that on him because you throw it on him as an incomplete pass. You got to throw it high and allow him to use his height. Did it perfectly. Snagged it, 1st down. In fact, 4 of his 5 receptions for 63 yards were 1st downs. He may not be all the way back yet. I think I got to see him get in a jump ball situation. Got to see him get in a deep ball situation. And Michael Gallup, bless his heart, he's not one to complain. He's not one to flop. But I've been saying this for 3-4 years. On some of those deep balls, bro, you got to make the referee make a decision, man. And I was pissed off. Number 25, I thought it was a pass interference on that deep ball. And Gallup kind of just waits for the ball to come to him, where some of these other receivers jump into the corner or jump up, or they force the action, and it allowed 25 to get his head around last minute, even though I think he interfered first. Then he got his head around, and I think that's why he didn't call the pass interference. But so I'm still waiting to see the deep ball kind of get back into Michael Gallup's game. But you know whose game I ain't worried about? CD Lamb. I'm just saying, man. CD Lamb is becoming what his talent says he should be. And I'm not even going to talk about wide receiver 1. He's always been a wide receiver 1, okay? But I'm talking about being that dominant type of guy. Let's go take a look real quick at CD Lamb since Dak Prescott came back. 5 games. He's got 31 receptions, 448 yards, 3 touchdowns, and he's averaging 14.6 yards per reception. Now, on the season, he's a top 10 receiver. On the season, he has over 800 yards and I believe 5 touchdowns. But since Dak has come back, he's got 200-yard games. His catch percentage has skyrocketed to 73%, 24 first downs, and 11 20-yard receptions. The one gripe, if I have to have with CD, would be he still kind of does the weird whiny stuff. Like, just stop it. But I can live with that if he's going to ball off like that. CD Lamb is being targeted like that dude, and he's performing like that dude. And that's all I can ask for from my wide receiver one. I think the one thing that a lot of Cowboys fans would say needs to be cleaned up, though, is for whatever reason, Dak and CeeDee Lamb in the middle of the field just hasn't been right. It just hasn't. Dak's got 5 picks, I believe, since his return. 11 total touchdowns, 5 interceptions. I can live with them. I mean, especially when you're 4-1, and especially when even with the picks in the one game you lost, you were up 28-14. You should have won a damn game in the fourth quarter. Qs are going to throw picks. Happens. Just don't throw them at the end of the game. But I go back and I watch some of these interceptions. You can really break this thing down to a science a little bit. 1, 3 of the 4, I think, were specifically to CeeDee Lamb. On one side, I don't mind you targeting CeeDee Lamb. That's your number one guy. On the other side, that part of the field seems to be an issue. There just doesn't seem to be the same symmetry. It's kind of hit or miss. Everywhere else, though, they're amazing. Everywhere else. So if that's the case, if my hit rate is so high outside the deep middle, because it's the deep middle, I got to make an adjustment, man. I got to make an adjustment because I don't want that part of my game, our game, whatever, to come back and bite us in the ass. Well, Sky, what adjustment would you make? Very simple. I'd stop running CeeDee Lamb there and put Noah Brown there. It's that simple. And here's why. When CeeDee Lamb threw that interception, when Dak Prescott threw that second pick, the first pick was a weird miscommunication. He thought he had offsides, and then he wasn't sure, so he wanted a safer throw. Michael Gallup didn't know what route to run, and that was weird. But I'm talking about these, because 4 of the 5 picks since he's come back have been like this. If you go look at the second interception, and this is what I mean by we do not have a nuanced passing game concept. The second interception in the one of those third downs or second and longs, I think it might have been third and longs. For whatever reason, man, we fall in love with the 4 verts. We fall in love with the 3 verts, and then we'll have a tight end maybe do something. Or the one time we ran the 4 verts on a blitz. Dude, they blitzed 7 dudes. 7. In fact, I got the screenshot. Let me get the screenshot. Stick with me. Because there's a reason to all this. Here's a screenshot. Let me make it big for y'all. They blitzed 7 guys. Cowboys Nation. Here's a screenshot. And we're running 1, 2, 3, 4 verts with a tight end running and out. Well below the line or the line of game. Look at this middle of the field. On a blitz of 7. Look at this spacing. This frustrates me. Because I seen this earlier in the year. I understand it's one play, but this is why I'm bringing it back up, because it wasn't just one play. Later in the game, on 3rd and 15 after a ridiculous reverse attempt that backs you up to 3rd and 15, we do it again, right? And run more verts. But this time, let me get this off the screen. This time it seemed like he learned his lesson. Kellen Moore said, we ain't going to run all these verts and nobody come across the middle of the field. So what they decided to do was they put Noah Brown out wide. And everybody else ran these verts. CeeDee Lamb up the seam. Again, this has not been working. I don't know why we keep banging our heads against the wall. They run the verts. Of course, Dak is going to look at CeeDee Lamb. Sees middle of the field. Should like it. But we don't get the route where he's opened himself up. So he tries to throw a back shoulder fade. Doesn't work. Tips it in the air. Interception. But if you look underneath, Noah Brown runs a slant and gets open. Well, Scott, why didn't he go Noah Brown? Because it's Noah Brown. That's why I didn't go to Noah Brown. So I'm advocating for one small adjustment. I'm not saying get rid of CeeDee Lamb going down the seam forever. But show me where this is working consistently. Show me. CeeDee Lamb and Dak have been connecting on the outside or in the slot in that short intermediate area of the field. So instead of sending CeeDee Lamb down the seam and hoping that you guys can miraculously start connecting there, bring his ass on the outside, send him under because he's a yak guy, right? He can do the yak things. Send him under. You're going to look at CD first. So if I'm looking at CD first, that's a quick slant and he might score. Who knows? At least get the first down. So my small adjustment to these issues, again, 4 of the 5 interceptions since Dak has returned have been middle of the field deep, or unless you count the red zone one, middle of the field, period. Avoid it. Just stop it. Just stop sending him up the seam in that manner. Stop putting him in the slot. See, I don't mind dagger concepts, but I'd rather CD be on the outside of that dagger. Because I think it's easier to read what the safety is going to do instead of this choice route of him in the middle, in the slot, and say, hey, either we're going to run this post or we're going to run this flat, depending on what the safety does. I don't got time for that. Y'all don't have that down pat. Work on that in the off season. Let that be a clear out. Let somebody else do that. Send CD underneath and let him get busy. Because if they do that, they become lethal. They become lethal. That's the only thing that's holding these boys back from consistently being dominant. And they have been, and again, here you go. They have been balling together since he's returned. But see, those things are going to overshadow how well low-key Dak has been playing since he's returned. How well low-key CeeDee Lamb has been playing since he's returned. How well this offense has been playing since 4 has returned. Because the worry is that will come back and bite you in the butt in the playoffs. And that is very true. You're going to play better teams, et cetera, et cetera. So that's my one small adjustment I would make. Send CeeDee Lamb underneath those things. Let anybody else do the clear outs. Because we don't have a nuanced passing game concept. We just don't. We're not running anything that's going to get these guys open from a schematic standpoint. For whatever reason, it is what it is. Now, when we do run action, when we get some play action off of it, when we get guys going one way, which shout out to the Giants. The Giants did a whole lot of great run action. I thought they had a good game plan. I would steal some of the, again, I'm always saying I would steal plays. I would. They had some good plays. They just ain't got a good enough players, good enough quarterback. But I do think we have a pretty solid nuanced run action. It's because you got those damn tight ends who, by the way, all of them can go on a walk with me. Whack-a-mole. Oh, knock that down. The whack-a-mole was pretty dope. Jake Ferguson with the hurdle and truck. Low-key would have been nice to see him hurdle again. Peyton Hendershot with the handoff for the touchdown. Sean McEwen, I think, is a fantastic number 4 option. They got him doing some fullback stuff. And he could be a sneaky option when you get in that red zone to catch a touchdown. And then Dalton Schultz, 2 touchdowns in the red zone. Great catch on that 3rd and long. And they blitzed on that one as well. That is where the nuance really comes from. So I digress. Oh, I like that. The tight end mafia. Before we get back into the phone lines and end this thing, Authentic, what up, Authentic, in the building? He said he was jealous. That was dope. I like that touchdown celebration. Let's get back to another streak that we got going on here at Cowboys Nation. 2-0. My colonizer doppelganger. Boston Scientific, man. The fan focus on your health segment brought to you by Boston Scientific. In the U.S., more than 39 million men suffer from ED. Boston Scientific created edcure.org to help you find your best cures. So to get started, go to edcure.org, take the quiz, and learn your severity or risk of ED. If you have a condition that puts you at higher risk, then you'll find a customized content for you to take. The fastest way to find your cure is to contact an ED specialist by browsing a list of experienced physicians in your area. Visit edcure.org, brought to you by Boston Scientific.
You're listening to A to Z Sports.
Do it live!
At some point, hoping to broadcast
In front of the millions
of Cowboys fans to bring you the real. But for now, strap up and here's your host, Skywalker Steele.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
We'll do it live.
I'm just saying. We started a new streak, y'all. 2, right? We're 2-0 with not enough sun, no more. Keep it going. Now, if we take a L, I switch it up. I told Sosa, if we lose, we got to get a new one. We got to get this stench out of there. That's all I'm saying. Oh, Shaq. He said that's Bollywood Sky. Y'all crazy. The multi-universe gentrification. Yeah. Hold on, can y'all see that comment? L said the multi-universe gentrification Boston Scientific. Yo. Jalen Smith elbow. Said people laughing, but Jalen had a decent game. Man, Jalen was all right, man. If Jalen, I went back and watched because I saw a lot of people was capping for Jalen. I said, what the hell? Did I miss something? When Jalen was coming forward, Jalen had some plays he was making and whatnot, but he also was still the Jalen Smith that can't turn. Well, dude, he got a hop, skip, and a jump to make a change of direction still. And he's doing elbow drops from top of the rope for what? I mean, I guess you could do worse than Jalen, but yeah, whatever, man. Give me Damone Clark and LVE. And yes, I'm going to say LVE. I still think LVE has his issues in the run game, but I keep saying this to y'all. I've been saying it for weeks, and dude is balling in regards to the pass game. I don't know how else to put it, man. I ain't got no gripes with the dude in that department at all. Like, he knows where to be in pass coverage. He's making plays. He's making adjustments mid-play. Run game, that's where I'm like, hey, man, I would like to see better. But in the pass game, he's doing well. And I told y'all earlier, Damone Clark, man. Damone Clark just looks like a middle linebacker. I don't think you need Anthony Barr back in there. Let Damone Clark rock. He ain't got no tip passes, but he again, this is why I said you got to kind of watch the All-22. You got to go watch the film, man. He knows where to be. He's in the right spots. They didn't call it a pass breakup against the Giants, but there was a pass breakup. He threw it to the tight end. He tackled him, and the ball came out. But they didn't give him a PBU for whatever reason. But he's been, sounds crazy, but he's been fantastic in pass coverage, man. Yes. No gripes there. All right, let's get back to the phone lines. We got DJ. What's goody?
Hey, what's up, Sky? How you doing this morning, brother?
I'm good, man. How you?
Hey, keep waking up in the morning, man. Can't complain. Hey, it's funny that you mentioned CeeDee Lamb and going over the middle with the interceptions with Dak and all that kind of stuff because, excuse me, I was a wide receiver, and what I was going to actually touch on was how he runs that post or he runs that deep over. He runs it like, hey, wait till I get to this point and then I'll be open. He runs it like, hey, wait till I get open. Because there's two ways you can run a route. There's the timing routes, and then they're just like, hey, beat your man, get open, and we'll get you the ball. He's running it like, hey, I'm just running to get open, while Dak is throwing it like a timing route, specifically on those posts, and he's not crossing that face. He's trying to go behind the safety when the way that Dak's throwing it, he should be going in front. And sometimes that's coachable. You can coach that out, but as a DB, you can have 5 different people run the same route and they all run it differently. I think that's just how he runs that route. So I think they should just avoid that altogether until, he goes in the off season and he gets in the lab and he kind of works that out. Because from the way that I've seen it, he's done it the same way every single time, and 3 of those picks are carbon copies. They look exactly the same, and I think that's just because of how he runs that route.
Well, it's not even necessarily how he runs it. It's just a miscommunication. It's a flat out miscommunication. Like one quarterback's reading it this way, he's reading it another way, and then I would add on to it. It's something that I would like I would like to see more. You are the wide receiver 1. Every route should be ran as if you're about to get the ball. And there was too many times where he's like, "Oh, well, Dak's not going to throw it here." Screw that. He's going to try to throw it to you. That's how you should be thinking about it. So that's, in my opinion, that's how he ran some of those routes. Against the Packer game, against the Bears, and even against the Lions, you saw him kind of let up a little bit on those routes. So, yeah.
No, for sure. And my other thing is, man, Anthony Brown. You know, I know he's been a hot topic and all that kind of stuff, but it's one of those things that because nobody's trying Diggs. Like, nobody's trying to make, like, you kind of forget that he's in the game until you see him flash through and make a tackle. They're like, why haven't they just kind of rolled all coverage over to Anthony Brown's side and kind of leave Diggs on the island? Not that they aren't. I mean, you're watching more film than I have access to and all that, but it feels like they're just running like an even coverage across the board and, like, letting everybody do their own thing on both sides of the ball, where I'm like, hey, put it heavy side to Anthony Brown's side. You know, because you have him, he's who's here. There's not a better option. You know what I mean? So roll all coverage over to his side, and then just kind of put Diggs on the island and let him rock. Because the best thing that we have, because when it's deep down the field and Diggs is running down the field, you're not scared. You haven't seen him chase anybody really since his rookie season. So just put him on an island and then roll all coverage over the top of Anthony Brown, and that should be the answer there. But you got to do something because people are picking on him, and it's been very prevalent here the past 2-3 games.
Yep, it's not going to stop, man. They're going to keep attacking Anthony Brown, and I would love to just throw a safety over there from time to time. They can't do it every time, but from time to time, damn sure would love to do it, especially if he's going to be pressing, because he's just been missing. Like, anytime he's up pressing, dudes are just running right by him. Every single time.
Yeah.
And he does. And it's the crazy thing, for the most part, he's always around. He just his ball awareness is terrible. He doesn't have great ball awareness when it comes to, you know, like, I'm in position, get my head around, make a play on the ball. Now, unless it's underthrown or something like that, he's made plays like that, but he just has not, you know, in the past. But this year, he has not had great awareness on those deep balls.
Not at all. And I'll leave you with a statement, because I know I've had 2 things. This is my 3rd thing. It's just a statement. December has historically not been nice to the Cowboys, so if this is truly a different season, I want to see how they go, especially against the Colts. You have the Eagles coming, because the Colts are that new. Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, overall, historically, I just want to see them kind of carry this momentum that they're carrying out of Thanksgiving through December, and then just to give us that confidence going into the playoffs.
Indeed.
All right, brother. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Let's get the Nacho. Nacho, you live?
Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving weekend, my man. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing fine as well. I'm doing fine. Hey, listen, I'm excited. You know, I think it's we're 8-3.
Mm-hmm.
To everybody's point, you know, I'm with you. I see us being locked in. Sure, I mean, the inconsistencies that have always been the Achilles heel of our football team, you know, obviously show up here and there. And the hope, I think we are who we are, you know, in terms of those penalties, whether we're going to fix those penalties or not. I think we're going to have them regardless. It's just the way we're going to be grinding, I think, as we go through. And then it's going to just boil down to, just the mindset of this football team. And I think to Zach Martin's quote that, or not necessarily a quote, but I guess what he was sharing about Zeke as him being kind of that, he kind of sets that physicality to that football team. And I just think having him in there, along with Pollard, and just Dak, I don't know. I just see Dak as like he's locked in. He's locked in, and that excites me. And I do see those three-headed monsters, Philadelphia 49ers and the Cowboys, with anybody else around. That's going to be it, man. That's kind of what I see. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Cowboys are at the top of the NFC. They're fortunately, you might not have to worry about Tom and Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs. We'll see. Tom might sneak his way up in there, but yeah, I think they're right there. Like I watched Philly, and again, that's a good team. I'm not going to sit here and diminish what they've done, but I definitely think the Cowboys can beat the Eagles. I do. The team I think is very sneaky, and this. Again, we're talking about playoffs, but I just think the Niners, dude, they're battle tested. They don't care. They don't care about sloppy games. They don't care about sloppy ones. They fans ain't over there crying about a 28-13 lead or 28-20 win. They're not doing that. They're getting these gritty wins because they're a gritty team, and they know how to get to the Super Bowl in that manner. So an NFC Championship game in that manner. So that's the team, in my opinion, that's the X factor in the NFC that you got to watch out for.
I'm with you on that. I think San Francisco, regardless, I think if we throw all the records out, I think I've shared this with you in the past. Going back to last year in the playoffs, I think San Francisco, in terms of the experience, being there, and being all in, on just trying to get all the players and trying to win a championship, I think they have to be probably more or less. Unless something happens between now and the end of the season, that they falter some. They're definitely, I think, the most dangerous football team just because they have both offense, defense. They have all the key players there. I'm over here. Obviously, up here in Northern California, that's the talk of the talk over here. They're talking about San Francisco. They're talking about the Cowboys and what it was in the 80s and 90s. So, lastly, let me ask you this. So, is this in terms of Tyron Smith eventually coming back, left tackle,
I didn't even bring that up.
Left guard type of thing is what I'm.
Yes.
Is that accurate?
Yep. I mean, Jerry Jones came out and said it. So, yeah.
Right. Okay. That's exciting stuff. Hey, listen, have a great day. It's exciting. We're 8-3 as Cowboys fans. We got to keep the faith. I think this is heading in the right direction. And you enter that tournament, anybody's got a fighting chance.
That's right, man. All right, man. Appreciate you, Nacho. Yes, sir. Yeah, I didn't even bring that up. I mean, again, we're just kind of going over the game. We'll break down more stuff throughout the week. Since we got a long week, Cowboys didn't play yesterday, so we're going to do this thing differently. Tyler Smith, boy. He had one, right? He had a game there, a tough game from a pass blocking standpoint. He had a couple snaps where Leonard Williams got him, but we talked about Leonard Williams being an issue, and one thing I noticed was they felt like they had a matchup over there after a while. It didn't start off right away. I think they realized, Kayvon Thibodeau and Leonard Williams. Let's get him over there on Tyler Smith. And he struggled big time against those dudes from a one-on-one standpoint, especially when they put pressure on him by blitzing. And once again, when you got your left side is Tyler Smith and Connor McGovern, who I'm not knocking Connor. I'm just saying that's the side you want to attack. And that's the side they attacked. And that's the side that had trouble. And it cannot be your blind side. Like, for as good as we are running, and that's why we have to lean on it, as a run blocking unit, it's crazy because the pass block win percentage were terrible, like last in the league or something like that. But you look at no sacks, which is why I think the QB should be given credit for not allowing sacks, because when it was Cooper Rush, it was him getting the ball out fast. With Dak Prescott, it's some of that, but it's also patience or rolling out or knowing where to go. He can get through his reads or what have you and go to the next person. But the Cowboys aren't giving up a lot of sacks, but I don't think that has to do with the pressure. They're still getting a lot of pressure. And a lot of it is coming from that left side, just being honest. So, I'm still advocate for moving him in. to guard and bringing in Tyron Smith until that train doesn't work, or Jason Peters. You know, I don't mind that. In fact, I'm ready to see that Sunday. I'm ready to see Jason Peters Sunday at tackle, and let's go from there. Let's get Tyler ready to ramp up at left guard if that's going to be the case. All right, we got two more here. 5'6" to 267. What's goody? 5'6".
Hey, what's up, Scott? How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. What's up with you?
Not much, man. I kind of agree with what you guys are talking about, man. I agree with you about the plays up to scene with CD. I didn't catch the first part of the show. I kind of came in kind of late, but
you caught the good part.
Speaking about, I got the good part.
Yeah, it's the good part, man.
Okay, all right. Yeah, man. So, I guess I wanted to know, like, do you feel like Kellen Moore has kind of grown as an offensive coordinator, or do you think like he's not gonna get any better? Do you think he is what he is now, or do you think he might have? What do you think his trajectory is?
That's a great question.
What do you think?
That's a great question, because I definitely, the second part, I definitely think he's grown. That's something I've been saying for weeks now. Like, there is obvious growth in Kellen Moore as a play caller because he's shown to be more disciplined from a game plan. I say game plan. From a balanced standpoint. And that's baby steps, right? Like hey, he wasn't a guy that was trying to be balanced for real. And he even came out and said, you know, I want to throw the ball so bad, but you know, I'm learning and I'm growing. So sure, there is growth from him being balanced, running the ball and using run action. Game plan wise, I think there's still some more, you know, some meat on the bones there. But again, that's continuing to grow. I still think there's this weird, like, you know who you are, Kellen. You know not who you are. You know who the Cowboys are. There's no need to overthink it. There's no need to try to do too much. There's no need to try to get too cute. Do what works for this team. So sometimes I'm like, why are we doing this? When you know who you are, stick to that. And then you'll see the reverses. And we've run like 3 of them now since Dak's been back. You ran 0 when Cooper Rush was in there. Why? You know, it's a wasted play to me. Your quarterback is really freaking good. He's a top 10 quarterback, and he's playing much better than that right now if you go look around the league. Let him work. You don't need to do anything goofy. Let him work. But I do think he's grown. I'm still not the type that I'm ready to just hitch my wagon to Kellen Moore. Not at all. I look around the league and I see much better game plans, much better, you know, stylistic style type of offenses. But I think he's grown. Is this what he's going to be? Probably, honestly.
So do you think possibly maybe like he kind of does like some of those things like you said, doing reverse and things like that to try to I mean, because I think like as I think if you're a good coordinator, you have to like show a lot of different things, because you don't want to be like, you don't want everybody to know exactly what you're going to do. We know what you're good at, so we're going to game plan that. You want to do. You want to have.
Yeah, you want to break tendencies.
How does talk about Garrett? We don't want to be like Garrett. Like, we know what you're going to do. We know you're going to run this play because you guys do this all the time. You know, I think you have to have like.
You have to have some versatility within your scheme. And he has that. Like, that's the crazy thing. Like, he has that, but we don't see it. I don't think consistent. Now yesterday, or I keep saying yesterday, Thursday, we saw the packages that do work within it, and there's so much you can do out of it. Like, there's so much you can do out of those 12 and 13 personnel packages that I don't think you can just put a beat on one thing. And when the Cowboys are running those plays, I think that you see them successful. I haven't seen much growth in the 11 personnel package. I guess I don't know if there's much you can do there, but you know, I do like when they do the bunch stuff with the wide receivers, but now we're doing bunch stuff and we're just running it as opposed to kind of getting some rubs off of it. There's other things you can do that aren't just, hey, we're going to do this tight end come this way, whip around, reverse it. That to me that's not creativity within your playbook. That's just a trick type of play. You know what I'm saying? So if there's room to grow if he takes plays from some other team. Like for instance, I watched Brian Daboll and his offense, right? I said, boy, we lucky they don't got a Dak Prescott or a CD Lamb because they have a fantastic scheme. They do. They just don't have the players to execute it. And it's hard. I'm sitting here watching the tape, and I'm like, man, I can't even get on the linebackers today. Even though the run game was held in contention, things like that. But it could have easily got real ugly real fast because of the misdirection and some of the plays that they had. And it was just really good stuff. And they're doing that consistently, and that puts you in a bind. When Dallas does those things, they're tough to beat. When Dallas tries to get a little cute and revert back to some of the things that are, I don't want to say generic, but are more easier to defend, now it gets a bit more difficult because we aren't nuanced in our passing game concept, man. We aren't.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So I wonder. I kind of wonder if he kind of like on some things like not showing his whole hand,
Oh, he ain't holding
maybe
nothing.
That's why.
Nah, I ain't hearing that shit. I heard that last year. Hey, we went into the playoffs. They was like, Skies, he holding back plays. I'm like, yeah, he holding back plays. We get to the damn San Francisco game, and Tony Pollard touched it 3 times. So I'm not hearing none of that. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, all right, man. That's all I wanted to say, man. And happy Thanksgiving, man.
You as well.
I'll talk to you before Christmas. Merry Christmas and all those good things, man.
Happy holidays, my man.
All right, bro.
Yeah, I ain't getting food again. Y'all bullied me last year. I was like, man, Kellen ain't holding no plays back. No, ass guy. But you know what? Kellen might be holding some plays back because it don't make no sense why we ain't doing these plays no more. Let me get to the playoffs, and this dude's running triple-double dog there, annexation of Puerto Rico on the second possession of the game. Tony Pollard touched it 3 times and twice in the last series or something. Man, just don't get me started. I mean, I won't go back. He has grown. There has been some growth, right? There's a little bit of growth there. So I'm not going to get too crazy on Kellen Moore. Yeah, Reggie. 267, what up?
Yeah, Will, what's up?
What's good? Is AA Ron? Or not AA Ron? Is AA Ron?
No, it's we don't wipe these 304. Sorry.
It's Chris. Yeah, I get y'all mixed up a little bit. What's goody, man?
Hey, I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving, bro.
You as well.
So the one thing that I like about this team compared to last year's team is it doesn't seem like this team is peak. Like I still see that there's improvements that need to be made, which to me is fantastic because like you see some of the young players that they have on the team, Clark, Ferguson, Williams, they're starting to come into their own pretty much at the right time.
Yeah.
So like just overall, I like what I'm seeing from that standpoint. But like going into the Colts game, the way I look at it is their offense can't beat us. Like they're not going to win that game on offense. They're going to win that game on defense because that's a very solid defense they have over there.
Man, Matt Ryan's cooked. So they damn sure ain't going to beat us offensively. Only way they going to beat the Cowboys offensively if they can't stop Jonathan Taylor. That's it.
Yep, 100%. And then when it comes to Dak, I 100% agree with you. I think Dak's been fantastic. I think like right now,
he's in his zone,
out of the quarterbacks playing, like out of the quarterbacks playing right now, to me the only 2 that are playing definitive, like I don't even know if I would say definitively. Like Patrick Mahomes is definitively playing better than him.
Bro, let's
Joe
not
Burrow
even.
might be playing a little better.
Pat Mahomes on another level. We don't even count Pat.
But I could tell you this: he's damn sure playing better than that running back in Philadelphia.
Playing good ball too. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, definitely he is. But I just look at what Dak's doing with the sum of his parts. Like the left side of that offensive line has been mad inconsistent recently. And I think a lot of the times the reason why Dak or they haven't been giving up sacks is because Dak's been bailing them out.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. He's been bailing them out. The Cowboys rank last or something like that in pass rush win rate, meaning they're not holding up consistently week in, week out, down in, down out. But I digress.
And the best part about Doc is right now is he's playing good ball, but there's improvements that can be made, like with some of the turnovers, and that's a beautiful thing. Yeah. I think, like when you're at a point where you're playing good ball, but there's still improvements that can be made.
Yeah, and I want to dive in a little bit on the difference between what we're seeing now and last year when we get off this phone here.
Yeah, definitely. Well, all right, well, I got to get going anyway. So, yeah, it was good talking to you, bro. And I'm calling the Vacha show later. I have something that I'm not very proud about that I did over the weekend. So.
Shit, Vach might find it proud. I know how y'all are. Vach might find it proud, but all right, man.
All right, bro.
Appreciate
nice
it.
Talking to you.
So, I think Chris was talking about how something about the difference between that last year's offense and this year's. I was thinking about this the other day. At this point in time, right? What are we? Week 12, week 13. Right around this time frame, we were like, all right. Something's wrong with this offense. Because I saw Tom in here say, here we go with this is different. See, that's not what I'm trying to say here. We don't know if this is going to be a different year until this gets there. We just don't. But there is a difference in the way this offense is operating at this point in the season than last year. Maybe a lot of that got to do with your quarterback being healthy, but nonetheless, last year, this offense was broken, and we were trying to figure out how to fix it. Quarterback was jittery. Offensive line couldn't run block, couldn't pass block. Coordinator couldn't dial up a damn thing, and the game plans were awful. There was an issue at this exact point in time. There was a blueprint that teams rolled out that we had no answer for, and then you were dealing with issues on the front of the line. You were dealing with issues in regards to injuries with your running back. I don't think that's the case this year. I think it's the opposite. I think teams now are having to figure out how to combat what the Cowboys are doing offensively, especially with these nuanced run action that they weren't running last year. I think now teams are having to deal with Dak Prescott playing at an extremely high level here late in the season. And yes, I'm going to say extremely high level because he is. I just think there's an issue with fans where we're so focused on our team, especially those fans that don't fool with them. They see him make a mistake or throw an interception or incomplete, and all of a sudden they assume that doesn't happen around the league. I'm telling you, I should have watched ball this week. Go around the league. Just watch. There may be 4 or 5 quarterbacks playing better than Dak Prescott right now. That might even be a stretch. I don't give a damn about the word elite. I don't care anymore. I'm done with that argument. I'm done. I don't care. At this point, just get it done in the playoffs, get it done, and then that'll handle itself. But what I do know is that man is playing at a high level right now. He is in a different feel and zone right now. And the interceptions are even different than they were last year. Sans the one in the miscommunication weird interception against the Giants. But other than that, these are interceptions where half the time there's a miscommunication between him and his receiver or tight end or whatever. A lot of those same times, it's like, damn, that's actually not a bad throw. It's just that maybe you getting a bit greedy. There's a difference between being greedy and then reading wrong or making a boneheaded mistake. And you know what's been cleaned up? Nobody talking about? The fumbles. He's not fumbling. There's not this weird pocket awareness because he doesn't trust the offensive line. I'm telling you, man, he is in a zone right now. And if he can continue to be in that zone, get a little bit help from the design of the game plan, this offense is going to be tough to deal with. The more Michael Gallup gets healthy, the more they incorporate these tight ends. And hey, we'll see what happens with James Washington. James Washington might be a bonus. He may not be. We'll see. But I just think this offense is at a different level than last year. Does that mean things will end differently? Maybe not. Because the one opportunity we had to do the one thing I want to see this team do, which is close out a game, finish a game in a tight contested game, we failed in that manner, right? Now you can argue referees, whatever, but we failed in that manner. So that's the one thing I want to see this team do. I don't know if they'll be given that chance against the next 3 opponents You don't knock any of them. It's the NFL. You got to play it. But you got 2 games on this schedule. 3. Let's just be real now. We're calling the Washington team a team that that's not a bad win anymore. You got 3 games on this schedule. Now, if they blow these teams out, then they just blow them out. I don't think they're all going to happen. But you got 3 times to prove that you can get into these tightly contested games. It comes down to the end of the game, and you can make the play, the series, the drive, the whatever that matters to win the game. Do I think Kellen Moore should go more conservative on 3rd and 15? I didn't like the concept. I don't necessarily think you have to be conservative. You got a quarterback that can make the throws. Just why 3 verts, 1 up the seam, and then, or actually I think it was 3 verts. They all were on one side. I got to go back and watch. But they brought Noah Brown underneath. So I'm not mad. I'm not mad because Noah Brown was there, but I would have just switched it. But why not bring that outside wide receiver on a dig or on a slant or something? Just too many times just like, run down the field. It's too many times where guys just not a part of the play when it needs to be. 4th and 3, you just sent, I think it was Michael Gallup, or no, it was Noah Brown. Hey, you just run down the field. He's not an option. So now your options are 2 guys because the other option was a dude running the same route as CD Lamb who was 1 yard away from each other. So now that eliminates that option. So it's just like little things like that. All right, let's get to these super chats and get up out of here, man. We on good time today. Miss being back. I didn't even peep, man. Shout out to y'all. 600.
Bomb Squad!
Oh, 600 of y'all. All right, let's read these off. We got a handful. All right, DB Smooth, appreciate you.
Super chat.
$6 donation says Jerry Jones done made more black men rich, including the YouTubers dedicated to the Cowboys. Who's rich from that? Then he kept out of school, or then he kept out of a school. He was 14. Let some stuff go. I don't necessarily think, Cowboys Nation, that just because you make a black person rich, that eliminates the skepticism that people have with Jerry Jones. But I appreciate the donation. Shaq, appreciate you, man.
Super chat.
He says, we know CD a number 1, but is he is he platinum? He playing platinum, I tell you that. Sully.
Super chat.
Sully said, appreciate your $5 donation. He says, I think he was trying to get the PI like Lamb was supposed to come back to the ball so the DB runs through him. I think you're talking about that interception. I mean, the back shoulder was, I think, either the back shoulder has got to be high, but if it goes too high, then it goes over the head and interception. But I don't even like back shoulders up the seam like that anyway. I mean, that Shannon Sharp, believe it or not, somebody has sent me a clip of him explaining it. I thought he explained it well. Middle of field was open. He had the split safeties. He said that CD should have went outside than inside to give some separation. I just think the concept, again, make things easier for your wide receiver, for your quarterback, whatever. Make things a little bit easier. That too many times, man, these throws are just tightly contested. And I said this before, that requires damn near perfection every time. And you know where the throws aren't always contested? Those damn tight ends. The tight ends are getting wide open on these run actions, the play actions, the rollouts, which I love getting Dak on the move. He threw a nice throw to CD Lamb with a ridiculous one-handed catch on the move. So more of that. And then B Bird.
Super chat.
Appreciate you, OG. Says CD runs behind the safety because he don't want to smoke. He's never made the mistake of running in front of the safety, only behind them. You know what's so crazy about that? If you go back and you watch CD Lamb's rookie season, there's a handful of plays where he was 93% in the slot. So he dealt with a lot of these slot situations, but they weren't necessarily always these type of reads because these type of reads require chemistry. But nonetheless, CD Lamb got hit a lot. I mean, CD Lamb got his bell rung a lot in the slot, and a good amount of them was with Dak because Dak wasn't scared to throw it over there. And he would get up, do his little thing, and do all this stuff, right? For whatever reason, I can see why you would say that. Now, he has gotten hit sometimes this year too, but I can feel you when you say that, because it does seem like he don't want nothing to do with that because he's easing up or he's not running looking for the ball. But I don't want that to diminish his play, because CeeDee Lamb has performed like a one. I've always believed he was, but it is what it is. It was more of a mental aspect that needs to still be worked on. But his talent, it's always been wide receiver one talent. And his talent is being able to be showcased because he's getting the rock, right? They're going to him in advantageous situations. And those advantageous situations aren't deep middle. It's just not from the slot. Now, if he's lined up outside the numbers and he's running the post or something, but in the slot, I don't like it. He does. You say he has to know his wide receiver tendencies. Here's the thing, Swain. They could legitimately be on point at practice. But if you're in the middle of your route and you read it wrong for 1 second, and the quarterback reads it this way, the wide receiver reads it that way, that could spell disaster. And it has spelled disaster. And if I'm seeing that over and over again, just eliminate it. That's the only issue in this passing game right now in regards to mistakes. We could talk conceptually. That's not going to change. It's just not. But you can change that. I cannot send CeeDee Lamb up the seam and require this option route. You heard what Bruh said. Now, you don't got to eliminate option routes in general, but you can eliminate that damn option with that player because they're not on that same page. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, we ain't going to be able to nuke the option route trips because that's part of every game plan, every offense. But that specific one, I just would do it with a different player because Dak is going to go to CeeDee. He's going to look for CeeDee Lamb. So if I'm looking for CeeDee Lamb on the boundary, if I'm looking for CeeDee Lamb underneath, I feel like it's a better option with him. And then if that's not there, then maybe I look for that option route in the back end, or maybe you don't. It's not an option. Maybe you just say, hey, no, you running a slant. Or I'm sorry, you running a post. You're running a dig. Even though that's kind of 101 wide receiver stuff. And then if it's not there, maybe the safety cheats over to Gallup. Maybe the safety cheats up to CeeDee Lamb running a corner. And now you do have a wide open Noah Brown. So I think it's a simple, small adjustment that can be made that can not only unlock CD even more, but unlock this pass offense. No, absolutely cannot start like that. No way, no how. No way, no how. And it's the same style of mistakes. But overall, though, man, I think this offense, I mean, I don't have to show y'all the statistics, right? Since Dak has been back, it's been the number one rated offense in the NFL from a point standpoint. And everything has increased, right? Third down percentage, number one. Red zone, top 5. Points, number 1. Yards per play, top 5. Everything is top 5, 6, 7, 8 since he's returned. So when Dak is under center, man, they'll deal. They'll deal. All right, man. Let's get up out of here. Felt good to be back. Imagine this offense with Ryan Noah. Felt good to be back on YouTube. Make sure y'all come back tomorrow. We got possibly a guest. We'll see. If not, it's all good. We'll talk about do we want to talk about the coach tomorrow? No, maybe we'll do some film. I want to talk more defense too. I went and watched the defensive film this morning. I did offense yesterday, defense today, and I briefly touched on Damone Clark, but we'll continue to investigate this game, and then eventually we'll move forward. We'll keep it on schedule. Wednesday we'll move forward to the Indianapolis Colts Sunday night primetime game. And speaking of primetime, make sure y'all tune in later with Mo. He should be back on YouTube. He should be back on here as well. And then later, I'll be on Vacha's show with the Vacha and Buddy Live. We haven't streamed together since Tuesday, almost a week. So, I'll see y'all boys then. And girls and ladies. My bad. Press this button, get up out of here. Hope y'all enjoyed y'all Thanksgiving weekend. I did. Felt good to kind of unplug and go back I wasn't even on Twitter, but if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can at Skywalker still. DFW Turf Ticker is right down there. It should be scrolling here a little bit. It get there. Come on. There we go. We out here, man. Love y'all. Peace.
Squad!